Hey guys, Jeremy here at My Way MFG. I picked up Eliza a new set of headlights. Trouble is, I got to get the old ones out, and the screws are rusted in there really bad. Looks like these headlight buckets are shot. All the adjusters, springs, all that stuff's terrible condition. But I soaked them with some PB Blaster. The two top ones that I can get to, I put a screwdriver in and it just tore the slots out. I was able to clamp onto them with a pair of vice grips and get them to move a little bit. So I think I can get the two top ones out now. The bottom one I can't reach. Maybe with the two top ones out, I can peel the headlight out of there and then reach the bottom one. We're gonna see. And see if we can just get some headlights in here working good enough to driving at night. If we go further with the car here eventually, I guess I'm gonna have to find some new headlight buckets, most likely. But as long as these were in adjustment, when the car rusted up, maybe I won't have to adjust anything. I can just put them in there and use them. That's what I'm gonna try. Anyway, get you guys back in here in a minute. Guys, I got the old headlight out. I got a couple new Napa ones here. That Chinese wiring harness did come with new pigtails. That's handy. It's gonna make old Eliza look kind of bright-eyed in the front again, won't it? Sure will. Problem is, I don't know if these headlight buckets are gonna be good enough to hold the headlights in good. They're shot. The retaining ring, I was able to get the two top screws out, just taking a pair of vice grips on the sides of them and doing that. Then I pulled that forward and peeled it out. This is rusted clear in half here. It's broke loose. Springs are broke. This retaining ring's just about broke, but not quite. Back of it's rusted out. Needs new ones. I'm gonna have to get on eBay and see if I can find some. But I am gonna try to just put the headlights in here and see if they will stay in there tight for now. Maybe we'll get a couple night runs out of it, you know. But I'm gonna peel this old wiring out of here and try to start wiring this up and just see what happens. I just don't know yet. Got the first headlight in there. I just left a pigtail up here right now for my turn signal and parking light. I gotta change a socket in there to make the parking light and turn signal work. And I would probably be drilling that hole bigger and soldering in a new socket. Only thing is, this headlight bucket is not worth doing that to, so I'd end up doing it twice. I don't have the turn signal stuff here yet anyway, so we're just gonna leave it like that for now, and when we circle back to this, it'll be there. This is broke all to hell. It's holding everything tight. I think I can drive it like this, but I was on eBay last night and I found some new headlight buckets on there. Man, there was one guy on there had said he was wanting like $1,000 for. Not gonna do that. I mean, this isn't a Bugatti, guys. I did find a set on there that looked pretty good for, I think they were $27 plus $14 shipping. I'm gonna see if maybe I can get those ones coming. That sounds pretty reasonable to me. It was the whole assembly going clear around the perimeter with everything. And he only showed two pictures, one from the front and one from the back, but I can't get a real good view of what condition they're in, but I know they're a hell of a lot better than these ones. These ones I don't want to mess with. They're not repairable. I guess if new ones were $1,000, then they're repairable. But if I can get ones that even need a little bit of work for $27, I'm better to go that route. But I'm gonna tighten this one up, go over there and try to do that one, and then we'll see what happens. Let me turn it on and show you though. There it's on right there on low beam. Or that's low beam there. That's high beam. Just looking at it on the door of the garage, I don't think it's terribly out of adjustment. You know, if it stays there, it might might not stay there either. All them springs are gone and stuff, but it's kind of rusted in place, you know. So then again, it might. But been a long time since old Eliza had a working headlight, I bet you. Anyway, I'm gonna go for that side, see what happens, and then get you back in here. I'm thinking this side might be slightly better. I don't know yet. We'll see. Anyway, this side over here, I tried to get the screws out with vice grips like I did on the other side. It was just tearing the screws up so bad that I wasn't getting anywhere. I'm gonna take this little Dremel thing, see if I can cut some new screwdriver slots in them. I might end up in the end cutting the whole screws out and just putting the bigger ones back in. We'll see what happens here. I got a couple good slots cut in there now. I think I'm gonna soak them down a little bit before I try it. Maybe I'll have a little better luck if I come back here in a half an hour. I had already soaked them down once, but I think on the other side I did leave it set longer. We'll see what that does. On that side, I didn't take the bottom one out. I was able to get these two out and just peel it forward, hoping to do the same here. Yeah. Anyway, get you guys back in here in a bit. Hey guys, it's a little bit later. I never could get these screws out. I ended up having to drill them out. That worked well though. I didn't try to get the bottom one. I'm hoping I can peel this out of here like I did on the other side. Back's missing out of that light. There she is though. Out here working along in the garage, and all of a sudden a hailstorm. This is about the fourth one this year. It's coming down pretty good. Me and Mac were watching. Mac don't really like getting wet. Neither do I. Because I don't generally care for these crimp-on butt connectors, but I have been using them. But I got the ones that's got the heat shrink wrap on them. You put them on there, crimp it, and then pull on it. Make sure it ain't gonna come off. But sometimes they do. And then you just gotta throw them on the floor and start over. But if you can't pull the wire out, you're probably okay. And then heat it up and get the heat shrink on there. And give you a good waterproof connection. But yeah. Hey, just about got the headlights finished up. I think they're gonna stay in there, at least for a while, until I get the new headlight buckets. But if it holds together like this, I probably won't even put them in until I get ready to do the car. unless I have to, you know, do the outside of the car, I mean. I wanted to tell you guys, this whole issue with the speedometer, I put out a post saying there's about 3 different speedometer companies over there in India that sell these things. I found another, they're called Magnolia, that yellow looking faceplate I've got on these gauges. I found another company over there selling that exact same speedometer. And I started messaging them, asking them questions. Because the whole problem is we got a 2-to-1 ratio on this speedometer. And it should be a 1-to-1. And as near as I can tell, most all cars take a 1-to-1. So I don't even know what the hell this speedometer would really work on. Seems like a motorcycle speedometer. But anyway, the first company that I ordered all the gauges from, that was way back like in November or December. So I'm past the 30-day complaint period. So those guys are tired of me messaging them. They won't even talk to me anymore. So I got a hold of this other place, right? And they sell the speedometers individually. So I could just buy the speedometer. It's like $25, which I'd be more than happy to do that. I messaged them. I said, is this speedometer a 1-to-1 ratio or a 1-to-2 ratio? I didn't know to ask that question the first time. Didn't know there was a difference, but now I know. It took about a week and they messaged me back. They said it's a 2-to-1 ratio, which is what I've got now. But they said, we can make you a 1-to-1 ratio. Just leave a note in your, buy it and then leave a note along with your purchase, you know, to make it a 1-to-1. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to have them make me a 1-to-1 ratio speedometer, and it'll match the other gauges and hopefully just go in there and work. I get the feeling, I know India is a big place, but I almost feel like the first place I ordered from and the second place is like 2 brothers, and they're in the bedroom next door. And he's like opening the door and saying, hey, this is my way MFG guy. Ain't that the one that keeps bugging you about the speedometer? Yeah. Is he bugging you now? Yeah, what should I tell him? What's he want to know? Is it a 1-to-1 or is it a 2-to-1? Tell him it's a 1-to-1, then we can get him to buy another one. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm probably going to do that. I also asked them if they could make me one that only went to like 85 mile an hour or 100. So I don't think Eliza needs 160. They seemed confused when I asked them that and said they didn't understand. I tried to rephrase the question. They never got back with me on that. So I might have to get another 160 mile per hour speedometer. But if I go with the gear reduction thing, it's going to be like 100, 150 bucks to make this one work. So I'm probably going to try another one of their $25 speedometers. But anyway, I'll let you know what happens. I do feel like they're pretty good quality gauges, but if I had to do it all over again, I would need to know to ask the right questions. The temperature gauge is in Celsius, the speedometer was wrong, just stuff like that I didn't know, you know, but too late now. Anyway, I'm gonna keep working on this headlight for a while. Did quit hailing though. I got both headlights back in there. It's holding them good and tight. I mean, you can't move them or nothing, at least right now. Let me turn them on. There's our high beam indicator light on. Shoot, I've got one out. You suppose that's a ground issue? Yeah, I got this ground wire going to the battery. I'm not catching a good ground. I put a ground screw right there. I'm not catching a good ground right there. I'm gonna have to work on that. Hey, there's the headlights on, guys. And, that's high beam. There's low. Position of them doesn't look too bad. A guy's just gonna have to drive it at night, see what it's like. But yeah, they're in there. I had a ground screw there that I kept, and then over here there wasn't a ground screw on this side. I don't know if it grounded to the other side in that harness, but I put a ground screw there, and I was having trouble getting this headlight to come on, so I added another wire on that ground screw, and then I brought it to the inside of this fender well. And it seems to like that. So yeah, everything's staying on good now. So other than wrapping some more tape around there and getting some hangers on there for the wire loom, I'm thinking that the front's pretty well done. I think the next thing I want to do is get the switch on there for the dome light and finish that circuit. I'm just going to put this toggle switch down underneath the dash somewhere. Mount that in there. This is the wire to it here. I got the dome light circuit done. That works with both doors. We'll have 2 more dome lights up here eventually, but I just got the wires stubbed in for now. And then I put a toggle switch down under here. They'll also turn them on. That just takes the circuit to ground. This light switch didn't have provisions for dome lights, so that's good. I put it on this side so a passenger could also reach it, you know. If we pull out the headlight switch, we've got lightage. There's dim, there's high. So, yeah, I think we're kind of getting there with the wiring. Hey guys, I wasn't filming this. I wasn't going to show it, but I wanted to make like a little white vinyl wiring loom for my turn signal wires to run down the steering column. Kind of hide them wires. Right now I got them wrapped in black tape. So I took a piece of white vinyl and me and my arch nemesis, the sewing machine. Anyway, I made this little sleeve. It's about 8 inches long, and I sewed it inside out. And it's so small, I thought, how am I gonna turn that right side out? I didn't even know if I could do it. But I ran a piece of baling twine through there and tied it to the end, and I've just about got this thing pulled through. I've just been kind of working it around and pulling the string. It's looking like I'm going to get it. I thought, you guys got to see this. There it is, guys. Little wiring loom. And go out and try to slide it on there. I think I can slide it up the wires and then zip tie it tight on the wires underneath the dash. Maybe make that look okay.
let's give it a shot.
Yeah, that black wire right there I got wrapped in tape. Let's see if we can get that on there. I'm liking that better already. Get that tucked up in there like that. That's what that would look like. That's much better. So anyway, next time out here, we'll start wiring up these turn signals. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Hey guys, Jeremy here at My Way MFG. Next morning, got this thing made. Anyway, about the last thing to do here. Well, not the last thing, but we can get the turn signals wired up. Unlike everything else that I bought for this car, the turn signals actually came with instructions. I'm not kidding when I say this is the only thing I bought that came with any instructions. So if you're doing this, don't do what I did. Buy better stuff that comes with instructions. In fact, you should never do what I do because I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, we're about ready to hook this up. What we got here, the black wire, is the right rear flasher. That's going to be the green wire we got here that's heading to the back of the car. The sky blue wire is the right front flasher. That's going to be the other green wire that's going to the front of the car. Dark blue left rear flasher. That is going to be the yellow going to the rear. And the green is left front flasher. That's going to be the yellow that goes to the front. That takes care of those 4 wires. We've got 3 left right here. The orange is the brake light switch. So that's the brake light switch has 2 posts on it. One is hot all the time, and when the switch is activated, this will go on the other side of the switch. It's going to send a signal up through here, and it's going to feed back to the green and yellow that go to the back of the car. And that will operate the high beam bulbs on the back for the brake lights. So that's what the orange does. And out of the wiring harness, we've got a wire that goes to the brake light switch. So it will go down to the brake light switch, come back up into this one. That'll take care of our brake lights. Red is the flasher terminal, and it is going to go to L on this. So red will go right to here. And then yellow is what runs our little light right here. And that's going to go to number 7, let me see. That's going to go to the P terminal on this. And then the other terminal on this gets hooked into the battery power on a 15 amp fuse. So that takes care of all of that. And that's the end of it. We find the corresponding wires on the back for the high and low. Oh, no, we got one more wire that comes out of this loom that goes to the back that's for tail light. It hooks into the side of the light switch on a screw. That runs our tail lights. That will go to the low side of those bulbs. And then yellow and green will go to the high side of those bulbs, left and right. So that's what there is to that. I'm gonna start hooking some of this stuff up and just see where we get. I was playing with this earlier when I first mounted this signal switch up here. I had it powered up and I couldn't get this light to blink. It wasn't coming on. Well, switches don't need grounds, however light bulbs do. And my guess is it's not grounding good on that painted steering column. And within looking at this, you can see they have a indication for a ground right here off of the main body of that. So I'm gonna have to get this grounded some way, and I might just run a ground wire underneath that clamp. And I've got a dedicated 1/4-inch bolt on the firewall that I've been putting eyelets on and putting all my grounds on one bolt. So I've got them stacked up 4 or 5 deep on there. We'll just run another ground to that bolt, and that should get this light here blinking. And yeah, this should be the end of it. However, this is going to take a while. I've got to string this wire all back along the frame rail, pull the tail lights out, all that stuff. The front ones I'm just going to test with a little 12-volt light for now, one of them little probe lights, just to make sure the parking lights, turn signals are working, because we don't have bulbs up there. But I would like to verify that they're working. And these rear tail lights, that sensor, or the flasher, is probably going to sense that the bulbs are out up there. I think they'll still work, but they'll probably blink real fast, you know, like they do if you've got a turn signal bulb out. But we'll see what that does when we get that far. But I'll get you guys back in here when there's something interesting to show. Years ago, when I bought the other wiring harness from Painless Wiring, I put in the 59 Chevy Apache. It came with real good instructions. And it did not want you to use crimp-on butt connectors. At the ends of the wire where you got to terminate the wire, it was okay to crimp an end on. Well, you're at the end of the wire where you're going to be seeing it. A butt connector could be anywhere. And Painless Wiring didn't trust crimp-on butt connectors enough to want you to use them. So the way they wanted you to make butt connections was this. You skin the wire back and you split it in halves, and you go each direction with it. There's the other end. We will twist those together, fold one way towards the yellow wire, the other way towards the blue wire, trim it up and put a heat shrink over it. In their instructions, that's how they wanted you to do it. So I did that truck that way and never had any problems. And in fact, I've been doing a lot of wiring connections that way ever since and have never had a problem. And I really kind of like to do them that way. Let me see if I can get you in here. I'll demonstrate. So I would have to say that many times over the years, I've seen loose butt connectors, and especially those ones with the hard blue plastic on them. Guys, how many times have you seen wires pull out of them, guys? I know I've seen it a lot. And not just the blue ones, yellows, reds, all of them. That's why I usually try to get the ones with the heat shrinks on them. They hold better. I mean, I always crimp them, and then I'll pull on the wires, make sure they're crimped good. It won't pull out, and then I'll do the heat shrink. Okay, that's twisted up on both sides. Now you fold one half one way, the other half the other way, and you could imagine how hard that would be to ever come apart. That would be way harder to pull apart than a butt connector would. You got your heat shrink already slid on the wire. Make sure it's long enough to cover everything. Then you would slip it up. Try to center it. Shrink her down. There's a lot of ways you can do this. Heat gun, little torch, whatever. I just use a lighter because I always got one on me. And I really trust a connection like that, because like I say, I've been doing it that way for years, ever since I learned to do it that way. Okay, we got the tail light wire hooked into the side of our light switch. These are our 4 outgoing wires, left and right front, left and right rear. That leaves us these 3 wires left, which one goes to the brake light switch and 2 go to the flasher thing. So yeah, we're getting there, guys. I got this white ground wire left over. I don't know what to do with it. I might use it for a ground and just hook the taillights into it and ground it under here on that ground screw. But I also thought if I don't need to do that, if it's grounded good the way it is, I might just save this back and use it for backup lights eventually. Either way, I'm gonna run it on back there. Get you back in here after a bit. Hey, this black wire was coming from the fuse box up there. Back when I was labeling those, it says brake switch on it. I just checked it with the meter. This wire is hot all the time. So that's a 12-volt wire. It's going to be fused, I would assume. I'm going to run it through this hole and get it down out of the car and hooked it into one side of the brake light switch. All right, guys, I think I've got everything wired here. Turn the lights on. Got tail lights. Turn signal on that side. Let's see. We've got to get our ground wire hooked up here still. There it goes. I got a whole lot of loose ends to button up. I got to get all this stuff tucked up in under there and zip tied and taped all underneath the car. It's got to be all zip tied and taped, and a lot of loose ends to do. But all in all, everything's working now, so I think we'll tie up the loose ends and go from there. I think the next step is going to be carpet. We get that in there and then keep going on this front seat, I think. The stuff for the doors, the windows, the garnish molding stuff, I don't have any of that yet. The windshield garnish molding, I might get it painted and get it on. But I'm thinking probably maybe carpet. Pull the seat out, get the carpet in, maybe while the seat's out, get a little further with it. With the seat, I mean. And yeah, I think that's probably going to be the next step. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. I was hoping to do another drive in the car. There's a restaurant. It's probably about 25 miles away from here. Me and the wife's got takeout from there before. We've never actually been in there to eat. It's like one of those little roadside bars out in the country. Got really good food. I thought maybe taking off there kind of at dusk and heading home at night, you know, give it a little night run. But trouble is, it's supposed to be like highs in the 50s next week. I probably don't want to do that without any glass in the car. I get pretty cold on things like that. Rather wait until the weather's just a little bit nicer maybe. But anyway, I'm gonna keep going here and see where we get. Every time we drive it, it's just gonna get a little better, you know, a little bit better. So anyway, guys, I think that's gonna do it for now. Please like, comment, share, try to subscribe if you can figure it out. And we'll catch you on the next one. Later, guys.